Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is a nice new audio mixer, but let's talk about the one that started all this story off in the first place. This one was the one that I mentioned in the last episode of sadly it has died. It's a Behringer Xenyx QX1202 USB. Now I did have a 1002 beforehand and that lasted for about 10 months. Sadly that just stopped working properly. The couple of ports just wouldn't be recognised. No idea. It wasn't because I hadn't pressed mute or something like that. It just didn't work. Well, there is no mute on here, but you know what I mean. It just didn't work. So I had that replaced, and then 2 years and a week later, it decided it just wasn't going to work anymore. So I contacted Behringer, as I said I would do in the last episode, and they've turned around to me to say that they don't recognise Amazon as a recognised seller. So, meh. And as I pointed out to them, I believed it was the power supply unit, so that they said, well, buy yourself a new power supply unit. Gee, thanks Behringer. That's really good customer service when you say you give a 3-year warranty and then don't actually uphold it from a company that the world knows. So yeah, I've decided no longer I'm going to buy anything from Behringer. I probably will do at some point in my life and I'll forget, but for now I am not bothering anymore. And quite frankly, do with what you want to do with that information. Sometimes it's worthwhile buying a product so you get decent customer service, not only a decent product. As I say, for 2 years it worked fine, but let's be honest, you should be getting more than 2 years out of these things. I realise other people have landed lucky with Behringer and have not had any problems, but I've heard other stories of where, yep, the power supply unit has just stopped working. Now, if Behringer's had a bad supply of power supply units, they just stick their hands up and say, hey, yeah, actually, from that particular serial number, blah, 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 you know, here, have a power supply unit, fingers crossed. They could at least done that, but no, they have no interest. So they get very low ratings out of my wonderful live rating system. But yeah, I give up on Behringer. So, sadly, a replacement is quite expensive. One thing, I went back to Amazon and Amazon were like, oh, that's a shame it was a week more than the 2 years that they are willing to give, especially since Behringer say they'd have 3 years. So they were nice and actually gave me my money back on it. Didn't have to quibble, didn't have to argue. I just phoned up, spoke to a nice woman. Okay, let me pass you across to my supervisor because I can't press the magic buttons. The supervisor understood as well. Ta-da, I get my money back. So I've landed lucky. I can't say that's how you're going to be when you phone up Amazon over certain things, but I landed lucky. So with my newfound cash back, and so that was roughly about £80 that Behringer cost, which is cheap, I know, but the thing is, it is cheap. So I decided I wanted to go up a step. I didn't realise how much of a step that would cost, but we've now moved up to well, basically I managed to get this on Amazon for £230, I think it was, 220, 230, might have been 220 because I've got a deal on for a day or something like that. We are getting close to Black Friday. So this is a Mackie ProFX12 version 3 12 channel professional effects mixer with USB. Okay, so we've got the GigFX engine, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz, 2x4 USB interface, and Onyx mic preamps. I have no idea what they mean really. Onyx could be any company to me. I don't know. I'm sure lots of people out there are going, Onyx, that's amazing. I have no idea who they are. GigFX, I don't understand it has got an FX gadget on it. I mean, it shows them all here, but I don't really use that kind of stuff because I have the computer anyway. But the 24-bit at 192 kilohertz, that's a nice, and the 2x4, well, that's really nice as well, because actually what it is that you have a stereo output through USB, but you also have stereo input twice. So you got that's really nice to have. So I can actually send things from the computer back to this to do funny things on here and then send it back out again, which is really, really nice. I can point at things all the way down here, but you can't see because the box is so big I can't really get it on my table. So let's spin it round and then we'll have to read sideways. I'm sorry for this, but we're going to have to. We've got mix, record, create, and we have Pro Tools first, and we have waveform OEM, which is professional software included. Let's move it onto its side. This is very heavy, this, compared to the other box. Now, it talks about the FX, the GigFX. So we can do lots of silly things. I'll not mention them all, because it does mention there's only 24 of them, whereas the other thing has 99, but as I say, I don't use them. But it says high resolution effects engine, great for live sound, weekend karaoke, and even live streaming. The GigFX engine will add the perfect finishing touch to your sound in a stunning high resolution studio quality. Available effects: 12 reverbs, 2 choruses, a delay and reverb, 4 delays, a doubler, an echo, an overdrive distortion, an auto wah, and a flanger. Always a good word, that one. What have we got? Yeah, let's move it on to this side, because I don't think... Oh, let's have a look at this bottom side here. What have we got? It says more about the FX, basically the same bit again. The Onyx mic preamps, high gain circuitry with ultra low noise performance, offers maximum versatility and unmatched sound quality. And then we have professional software included. Record and mix like a pro with Pro Tools first and Waveform OEM, recording and plug-in packages. And then it says 24-bit 192 kHz 2x4 USB interface, perfect for recording, podcasting and live streaming. Now, I do want to start getting into doing some live streaming of games, new and old. But whoa, look at all this now. This is all the wonderful stuff that's here. Right, so we've already spoken about the preamps, the GigFX, the USB. Single knob compression, keep your input levels in check with a quick turn of a knob. Effortless latency-free monitoring, blend between monitoring your computer's output and direct feed from the mixer. More about the software, and then it talks about over here the 3-band equalizer on all channels. Channels 5 to 10 feature mic inputs and stereo line inputs. High Z switches allows direct connection for instruments. 100 Hz low cut filter and 48 volt phantom power on all mic channels. Stereo 1/8 inch input on channels 11 and 12. I mean, that 1/8, isn't that? Yeah, 3.5mm for all the people that understand those ones. Aux monitor output with dedicated per channel send control. Stereo subgroup output bus with pre-channel assignment. Headphone output with separate level and blend control. Insert jack on channels 1 to 4. Pre-fader solo on all channels, and a foot switch input for FX mute. I don't think I'll need to get one of them because I'm not going to use them, but... And then it goes back to the signature rugged design. Legendary built like a tank design. Solid steel chassis protects its investment. Tough ABS side protection. There we go. And then it says at the bottom, mix, record, create again. So let's flip this thing over and then get this thing out of the box. Now, as I say, it's a bit of a big box, so I'm not really too sure how I'm going to do this. I hope I don't hit my mic and all these wonderful things. Oh, there we go. So there's an idea of what you get. I've got what looks to be a quick start guide, and then here's the mixer itself. Now this thing is big, so I'm going to have to turn the camera off for a moment and redo it, but let's have a look what's in here. We've got good old kettle type power supply, not power supply, power cable, you know, the sort that you probably stick in the back of your desktop PC or your kettle. That's why they're called kettle plugs. And then we've got USB A to USB B. Well, I don't know how many meters that is, but I've already got one of them set up for the old one. So as I say, I'm going to take this out of the box now and see what we get. Okay, so we've got our quick start guide, and then we've also got my serial keys, you know, CD keys as it were, for my Pro Tools first and the Waveform OEM. So I'm just going to slide them to the side because I don't want to accidentally give away my serial keys, because I might not install them straight away. but as you can see, they make lots of different sizes of the different ones. Which one's the one that I have? It's that one. So you can see they make these other ones. So if you really know what you're doing, you can play around with one of these. I don't even too sure I could fit that in this room. It would definitely take up the whole desk, that thing. And also I'm sure it costs thousands of pounds, and I have no use for it anyway. But as you can see, they do go from, you know, you're doing a little podcast type thing, all the way up to doing something where, yeah, you know what you're doing when it comes to doing music, stuff like that. So what have we got? We've got important safety instructions, which basically, you know, don't stick your finger in it while it's wet, that sort of stuff. Hooking things up. So yeah, even talks about hooking up to a computer. All the different things are. I'm not going to go into great detail of what everything is, because really there's no real point, because if you're watching this episode you probably already know, and really it's not as if I can share the information that I have, because I'm not too sure what it all does either. Let's be honest. Okay, so we've got the back of the thing and the front of it. At the back we've got, for the power switch, USB, and this allows for, as I said before, for 2 lots of channels going out and 4 channels coming in, but the 4 channels coming in is actually 2 lots of 2. So you've got left, right, you know, that's how it works, like that. And that means though that I can actually bring sound in from the computer by pressing this button for channels 3 and 4 from the USB, and then I can play around with the effects if I decide, if I'm not using line in 1112, which is a 3.5mm jack. Or I can send sound through the USB 1 and 2, but I can't apply any effects, but the audio does come through this and then back out again. So that comes in handy, being able to do things from the computer. Because now actually what I can do, as people do know, I have stereo speakers here. I have some Roland 2.1 speakers, and it now means though that I can play audio from my computer and push it out as stereo from here, even though my computer sort of faces that way, if that makes sense. Because then I have a different speaker set up where I have 5.1. So it comes in handy for me to be able to do something like that with a flick of a switch, basically, versus other messing around that I was having to do before with the other bit of kit. So yeah, I'm going to read through the manual, learn what I'm doing, and then hopefully with the next episode I can go back to the way that I normally do things. So as always, happy gaming.